Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. And what's chronic in the deviation, when you make a deviation, is you don't realize you're making the deviation because you think that you're altering the steps just a little. But it's not. It's altering it. You move it a quarter of an inch, it has it impacts something 40 miles down the road. It's like the science fiction movies. You know, you don't understand that. And sometimes you don't even report it or share it with your board members. Because the board members, after there's an acquisition, following this model, you have no trouble selling them. They're the cheerleaders, like it was their idea. But prior to your first deal, they are skeptical. And you keep them in line through your salesmanship and leadership. To the extent that some of you don't have either, then you're going to have to learn how to keep people in line. Leadership is me getting you to do what I want you to do when I want you to do it. And some of you, the younger kids in the room, will have trouble, telling a 60, 70-year-old guy or gal what the fuck to do. It's beyond comfort zone. And for those of you of certain ethnicities, that's even worse. We've had Asian guys that, I can't, it's hard for me to get the words out of my mouth. He's 30 and the guy's 72. I mean, it's hard for me to get the words out of my mouth to reprimand him. I can't do that. Again, that was never my problem. So I didn't suffer from that. But when you really think about what the Northern Ireland guy did, it's fucking amazing. Forevermore, he's going to be raising pigs to me. I know he's a goat farmer, but pigs sound better. Okay. It's remarkable. And every once in a while, once a quarter, we get a kid that just finds the steps easy. And for the same reason that I used to spend 120, 125% of every nickel I made from the time I got out of university to the time I turned 60, because I never wanted a backup. I didn't want, because I knew as strong as I felt I was, as strong as I know I am, if push came to shove and I was going to lose my house or something, I'd use it. And having lost my house almost twice, not almost 2 times a long time ago, I'm sure I would have used it. I like to think, no, macho man, I wouldn't have used it, but I couldn't see the wrath of my fucking wife. You lost the fucking house. We just bought the fucking house for $4 million. Now it's gone. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Dan? I can just hear the words flapping out her mouth now. I said, so I'm sure I would have used it. So, but I got my way out. I weaseled my way out of it, and I came up with money. When we were in the oil business, when I was in the oil business, crude oil went from $40 a barrel to $6 a barrel. And I raised $1 billion. You couldn't raise a nickel. At the petroleum clubs, they were empty, except for Great Western employees. There was a secondary market in Rolex watches in the oil industry. There was a secondary market, because that's what the Texans in Oklahoma that get Rolex watches with diamonds and shit, gaudy and shit. There was a secondary market. We used to give Rolex watches. Any employee that made us $1 million, not $1 billion, $1 million, we give them a Rolex watch. Second million, their wife got a Rolex watch. As soon as their wife got a Rolex watch, they never wanted to sleep next to them. Get out there and make some money for us. Anything else about John? Yes, sir, in the back.
He mentioned that the banks were asking for personal guarantees from his board members.
Oh, that's...
What were they asking for him too?
Oh, yeah. But SBA, full disclosure, SBA, Small Business Administration in America, which is God sent to us, you cannot get away from a personal guarantee. SBA, everybody has got a personal guarantee. Now, he got fucked around with this 5% note. That's all horseshit. I mean, you can get him, no notes, no nothing. But he didn't do that as well. He knows now. But SBA has a $7 million limit, cumulative. So he's got a couple more deals. If he does $2 or $3 million deals. But the SBA, if you're a veteran in America, SBA, I can walk in and get a $250,000 loan on my signature. So the SBA is a good thing. And they've been talking about increasing it from 7 to 10 million forever. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But there are good SBA loans, there are good SBA bankers and there's bad ones. And you want, like he was saying about the guy who had 33 years experience, you want the gray hair and the bald head for your SBA banker. But in almost all cases, you want the gray hair or the bald head for your banker. Because those are the deals that get thrown back from the credit committee. Those are the deals that get thrown back from the underwriter. And the reason why they have there's so many layers to the loan process, because you may get by one because he's an idiot or she's an idiot. You may get by two because they're idiots, but you're not going to get by all three. And at the 11th hour, when you've got the guy trying to pull out of the deal because he gets seller's remorse, they throw it back in your lap. And your LOI's got 36 hours to run. And every time you ask for an extension for an LOI, that's their chance to up the price. Just like due diligence is your chance to knock the price down, every time you need an extension for your LOI, well, don't you have the financing, Pina? Wetback Meskin? The truth is I didn't have the money, but anyway. You don't want to. So one of the questions that will come up in a couple of days, well, what's the perfect or the LOI length? Your guess is as good as mine. How long is a piece of string? A lot of people think 90 days is too short. Some people think 120 days. If you're good, your team's good, and your banker's good, okay. I like 180 days, and then the seller gets nervous. You mean it's going to take you 180 fucking days? You've raised $4,200 jillion in your board. You got 9,000 years experience, and you need 6 fucking months to get this money? Fuck you. Next. See, you come across with all this braggadocious horse shit, you got to perform. And all that pressure's on you, not the board. And that's why they get 2% and you get 62%. That's the only game in town. No money, but you got to act like you had a pair. Yeah.
Can you share gross profit on John's business if possible? Gross profit for the business he bought.
29%. If I remember correctly, I say that. I'm trying to be more humble in my old days. 29%. And the reason I started that is when I was in my 30s, I'd say 15.6%, 15.6785% to the 10,000th. Because I was a cocky fucker. You're asking me a question, I answer your question. Before you finish the question, sit down, stupid. That's how I acted towards people. And you want to know, I couldn't give a shit less what they thought. Because I knew it was a fucking numbers game. You talk to 1 billion bankers, you're going to get $1 jillion. You ask 100 girls, 25 are going to give you a blowjob. It's that simple. Those are the odds. And the ones that can do it, Marcus Bauer, who's been one of my stars for a lot of years, he didn't like the analogy about the blowjob, but I mean, he could take no 500 times in a day. He said, he was a world-class skier, and he said, you don't win every race you run. So when the things he could have done better are, one, if I hadn't put him off on Synergetics, because that pissed a year and a half down the rat hole, it would also made him super rich, one deal. Okay, so it's not like I held a gun to his head, but it failed. Second thing is that he got tougher on this last deal because he was, he's a doctor, what do you call it? Bedside manner, and he's not, okay. Well, that hurt him. Trying to be nice to everybody. And I said, these aren't fucking patients, John. These aren't, they're not patients. But he got over that towards this last, maybe since June of last year till December. But I'm on the phone with him, a Zoom call, getting the deal closed on New Year's Eve. And whatever plans, and his wife's a terrific gal, so I don't think that he was overriding any plans she had made for them. I don't know that for a fact, but she was pretty supportive. Not pretty, she was very supportive. They have a dual practice. But that's about it. And during the corona, because he was worried, as he said, he came to work in scrubs towards the last half of corona, because instead of a suit, which other than surgeons, I don't ever see doctors in scrubs anymore. Surgeons, they come with their stethoscope around their neck. I don't know why they do that anyway, to make sure you know they're a doctor. But then some senior nurses wear the thing around their neck, and fuck, who's in charge here? But anything else about John, or about just the general principles that he went through, and what he learned? And you will be smarter the second deal. And well, almost everybody's smarter the second deal. Not everybody, but almost everybody. Because some of you are just, there's a saying here in Britain, she or he, they're thick as two short planks. If you take a 2x6 board, and you take another 2x6 board, and you stick them together, there's no IQs being swapped there, right? So they say you're thick as two short planks. And we have had people that are thick as two short planks, but they also did 400 or 500 million pounds worth of deals. And if we could teach a hologram, I'm sure we could. The hologram would know that it made 700 calls, would it? But you're just a shitbag Indian salesman. Never forget that. Your engineering degree could stick up your fucking ass. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. In fact, it's a hindrance for those of you that are fucking engineers in here. Especially an Indian engineer. That's even a bigger hindrance. I'm telling you how it is. I'm not lying to you. We had two big-time engineers here many years ago. One of them says, Mr. Pena, he said, if I fuck up a bridge, I kill thousands. The other guy says, he was little buildings or some shit. This piece of shit, 100 buildings got to collapse that he fucked up before he kills as many as I can kill. So there's a level of arrogance in engineering. And there's a level of arrogance in the success. Some of the guys that are successful with this program don't really know why they're successful. And you would know if we put them on the screen. We stopped using the people during Corona. We had about 7 or 8 people got really successful. They didn't know debit from a credit. Does everybody understand what I just said? They didn't know a debit from a credit. Yet they did deals. Okay, YouTube, goodbye.